King Henry VIII began building his navy, which he called the Army by Sea, early in his reign, with construction of two large ships. The second of these ships, constructed in Portsmouth and launched in July of 1511, was christened the Mary Rose. Though some have speculated the ship was named after Henry's sister Mary, the more popular opinion is that the ship was named for Saint Mary, the mother of Christ, who had been associated with roses throughout the centuries. The Mary Rose served in the English Navy for more than 30 years. She participated in the First, Second, and Third French Wars, which were mainly driven by fights over territory and religious differences. It was during the Third French War, on July 19, 1545, that Mary Rose, flagship of Vice Admiral Georges Carew, was part of Henry's fleet defending against a French attempt to invade. The battle between the two fleets was fought in what was called the Solent, the strait between the English mainland and the Isle of Wight. The French force, carrying some 30,000 troops and including over 200 ships, was larger than the more famous Spanish Armada, which would attack 43 years later. At first, small French galleys seemed to have the advantage over the larger ships of the English fleet. The English were immobilized due to lack of wind, and the oar-driven galleys could maneuver. But the wind picked up, and the Mary Rose and another large ship, the Great Harry, attacked, their larger guns overwhelming the French galleys. But suddenly, disaster struck the Mary Rose. An eyewitness to the disaster said the Mary Rose fired all her guns on one side and was turning when an ill-timed gust of wind hit her and caused her to turn on her side. Water flooded into her gun ports, an innovation with which the Mary Rose was one of the earliest ships to be equipped, and as she continued to lean, her cargo shifted, causing her balance to become even worse, and as a result, she sank quickly. Those who weren't crushed by the cargo shifting around the ship were caught in the netting that had been festooned around the vessel in an effort to prevent the flagship from being boarded by the attacking French, and dragged down with the ship. Out of a crew of around 400, only an estimated 34 men were able to escape. King Henry personally witnessed the sinking of the ship from his South Sea castle. Despite the loss of the Mary Rose, the Battle of the Solent was indecisive, and eventually the French invasion was repulsed. Still, the sinking was a shock to Henry and the English people, as the Mary Rose was one of England's most powerful warships and a source of national pride. Its loss might have contributed to a stalemate and ultimately a peace agreement the following June.